So now, Alex, how should we break this down? Can you give me a summary of the movie here? What exactly
All right.
happened? And we need to talk this out because I've seen so many crazy things.
All right. Quick summary. Um, Flash is not happy where he's at in life. Decides, finds out his new power that changes everything. Turns out that when you try to change something, it has effects that you don't comprehend. And then he learns his lesson that you can't, just because life sucks, doesn't mean you have to start all over.
We're going into spoiler territory now, so if you don't want to know what happens in the movie, turn away because we are going to officially spoil the movie. You called it with the Reverse Flash. And I was so proud of you when I was watching this movie. I'm like, it's not totally. What's his name in the comics? It's Ichabod or
It's I can't remember off the top of my head. Um,
Ichabod
uh,
Thane?
Dawn,
But you totally called it. You said I was going back through all my videos today, and you called it in that trailer breakdown we did, where you were like, "I think they're setting up Reverse Flash. He's wearing yellow." And I'm like, "Huh."
it kind of made sense to me because like in Flashpoint there is no double of Flash, so I was like, well, they haven't talked about Reverse Flash ever. And they're not talking about the future and stuff. So I have to imagine it's going to be himself that he ends up fighting. But they do it in a different way, though, because
They didn't.
technically the guy who becomes Reverse Flash sees his future self and is like, I don't want to be that. And then
Right.
sacrifices himself and like ruins the whole thing, So it's just like, I liked how they did it, but like I was kind of proud of myself when I called that.
Yeah,
So
I was watching that. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's what's gonna happen. And the thing that I was watching the movie. I was confused by that purple rock monster. I didn't know what that was. As a non-Flash guy, I was like, I don't know. I thought this was
I
supposed to be Reverse Flash.
So in the movie, when I was watching it, I thought that was death. I thought that
Okay,
was death coming to get him for like,
that's what Garrett
you
said.
took away a tool from me, I'm going to claim it.
So death, the guy comes, knocks him out. Then he's in this new universe, and this was from this point on. Like I loved it. He met his doppelganger. Everything was like slightly weird. Like they had the Back to the Future reference on the guy's leg, and he's like, "That's not the actor. Yeah, it is."
Let's reverse it a little bit though. At the
Okay.
beginning of the movie, when it's Ben Affleck and they're like doing the chase scene, and the Flash has to do like cleanup. He has to go to the hospital. When that scene where he saves all the babies, we were like the theater was laughing so
Yeah,
hard at that
that
scene.
was a good one. And I liked how the babies did look realistic. Like to me, that kind of helped sell the humor. Where it's like, yeah, it's not realistic. Otherwise, this would be horrifying if they were realistic-looking babies falling to their death like that. That would be an awful thing to see on screen.
Yeah,
So,
they have scalpels coming at them,
yeah.
bottle of acid, a rocket.
And I like
Um,
how that Rube Goldberg set of actions just saved all the babies, and he's like walking away with his little scooter.
Flash forward. So now the Flash alters the past. Makes sure that his mom doesn't forget the can of tomatoes, so she doesn't. So his dad doesn't have to leave, and the robber's not there. Whatever. So Flash, he tries to fix the timeline. So he goes to the past, fixes the timeline or whatever. So his mom's alive. Tries to go back, gets knocked out by Purple Flash, who we don't know who that is, and then he's just living his best life. Plot twist: it turns out the day he comes back is the day he gets his powers. So he has to give himself in the past powers and accidentally transfers his powers to the other guy. So now he's permanently stuck there, and they have to figure out how to save the world. This is where Batman comes in,
Yes.
and like staying true to the comedy when they go to the Bat Manor and Batman beats the hell out of non-powered Ezra Miller. Oh my gosh,
That was
that
so
was
funny.
also hilarious.
The yellow Flash was like casually dodging stuff, and then Red Flash was just getting like hit. And it's like, yep, that's what would happen. He's like, I'm really tired of this.
I like their time explanation where it's basically like,
Yeah,
you went into the past and you changed this one thing. So basically, now like the whole timeline is twisting on what your action. So your action doesn't just change the future, it changes the
Yeah,
past
it's
as
a
well.
fulcrum. Yep.
And I really like that explanation. It made a lot of sense to me. Also explains the ending, why, like, we'll get there, but like, the one thing I kind of hate about the ending, we'll get to it when we get to it.
Hmm.
But I really like that explanation. So now they're trying to build. So this is just like in the Flashpoint, like the animated movie. They're trying to build their own Justice League.
Yes.
Um, but they can't find anyone. No one knows who Aquaman is. Cyborg hasn't been created yet, and so the only hint they have is for what they believe is Superman.
And the part that I was confused by, it looks like Flash was searching, couldn't find it, and then he woke up to coffee next to him, and it just happened to be the packet of files he needed underneath him. And I wonder if Batman was like, all right, kid, you got me. Put it underneath him, left the coffee, and left. And then he woke up,
Yeah.
he's like, oh, I found it. It's like, you didn't fall asleep on these files, dude, with a fresh cup of coffee right next to you. Batman put
I
it
think
there.
that was Batman.
Yeah,
I think that was Batman. Batman slid him underneath him.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Next super funny scene. So they have to sneak in, and Batman is obviously a master stealth. Wherever he's like sneaking in, no problem. They go in and immediately sound the alarms on accident because like they make a huge noise with the ladder, and like the scientist sees them. He's like, "What the heck?"
That was the
And,
dumb. Like,
and
you see the shovel start to fall, and it's like, Flash, what are you doing? Grab it.
yeah, you have super speed. You can't grab that fast enough.
I was like, what are you
So they're
doing?
finding all these
You have
Russians, right?
super speed. I guess he just got super speed that day. In his defense, right?
Right. So my favorite part, though, in that scene, though, is Reverse Flash has all these bullets coming at Flash, right? And he's like, I can't move all these bullets fast enough, apparently, or he just didn't want to bother. So he's like, I'll just move Barry, and he grabs him and moves him. He's like, all right, I moved you just for. He's like,
Just a
what did
little
you
bit.
do? Like, I moved you just for just a little bit. And also he's just like throwing up his guts. He's like, you can't do that.
That was the most violent puke. It was like so much puke. That was perfect. That was perfect timing. Beautiful. Chef's kiss.
Yeah.
And then that leads us back to the best part about the Flash movie, which is the Batman.
Yeah. I'm Batman.
Flying in and killing everybody in that whole scene. Which
Yeah, that's another thing I was talking about. It's like, they do not care about casualties.
Yeah.
Dude, it's like, you could say it's like, oh, it's like comic books and stuff. Like, these guys aren't dead. They can handle more of a beating and stuff. I don't know. There's some people that were hit super hard,
Yeah.
and I'm like, that guy's dead.
And I was happy to see that this Batman didn't use guns like the Ben Affleck Batman. Even though he used guns again in this movie. I'm like, what do they not get? Batman, it's his one rule. He doesn't, well, I guess he's got two rules. He doesn't kill people and he doesn't use guns. So when Ben Affleck keeps using guns, I'm like, what is going on? Side
My favorite Batman scene is when they need to get to the roof, and he's like, how much do you guys weigh? It's like, 260 pounds or something. And he's like, okay. And he takes out a measuring tape, measures the width of the thing, and like is doing math. And he's like, all right, put the charge on the bottom, and
Yep.
it rockets them up. Oh my God. That was.
I love how everything with that Batman is all analog, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna type in these codes and I'm gonna hack in and free Kara. Yeah, that's how I'm gonna do it.
But it makes sense because
Yeah.
he said at the beginning Gotham was crime free since like the 90s.
Yep.
So he had no reason to be a Batman anymore or to upgrade any of his tech. All right, so they find Superman. Turns out it's not Superman, it's Supergirl. It's his cousin. They free her, get her to the roof. She gets power, big fight.
And she's like killing all these guys, and then what happens from there?
They're like, all right, well, they're like, well, having Supergirl and a Flash and a Batman is enough. We need another Flash. So now they're doing the thing where they're like, we have to like give me my superpowers back. And so they got all the chemicals and they set up a lightning rod.
Yep.
and they just zap Flash, and doesn't work the first time, and he was going to do it again, but that's when Supergirl comes back because she saw Zod just killing people indiscriminately, and so she flies him up into the clouds so he gets hit by the lightning, and it's finally enough that he gets his powers.
That scene was so brutal, where you see him getting hit with all the electricity and getting shocked, and like.
I was curious how they were going to do that. It's so much more brutal in the animated series, in the animated movie, I should say, because like his whole body is just charred, and he can barely talk. He's like, "Do it again."
Is it the same thing where he goes to Batman for help? And
yeah,
this movie really felt just like an animated movie brought to life. Like as I was watching, I couldn't stop thinking of that. I'm like, this is just like
honestly, dude, DC bats 1,000 with their animated movie. If you guys don't see this movie, go watch DC animated movies. They are phenomenal. They have great story. They all kind of like interconnect. A lot of them do, and they're just great. So then after that, they go fight Zod, and turns out fighting Zod is a lot harder than I thought. And this is when Reverse Flash figures out he can also time travel. And because they keep losing this fight over and over and over, and they just keep just traveling back in time to try to like find a scenario where they win. But every time Flash does this, he gets like another piece of shrapnel in him, because like one time he's trying to phase, and a piece of like Kryptonian metal like phases through his arm, and so he has this like weird scythe thing on his arm. And he's going around like fighting with that now, and every time he travels back in time, he just gets a little more damage and a little more damage. And turns out that's who that purple guy was. It is this Reverse Flash who's been trying for hundreds of years, or like decades at least.
You see when the rock gets blown off of his face, you see he's like an old man by that point. So he spent like his whole life trying to save her. Failing.
Yeah, and isn't that insane? His whole thing is he's spending decades trying to save one person.
Yeah.
Right. And so then, but Reverse Flash then sees his older self and realizes like this guy's insane. He's trying to kill this guy, and I'm supposed to be a good guy. And so Reverse Flash sacrifices himself to block the attack, and it ends up killing him, which means that his future self doesn't exist. And then Barry, the Flash, left alone, realizing like, well, I can't change the past that dramatically. I have to go back. I have to let my mother die. So then he goes back to the supermarket scene.
Also, real quick, I went to the bathroom during the scene where, like, right before he goes into the Speed Force, and I missed the part about the tomato sauce. So at the end of the movie, when I was watching this, I didn't know what the heck he was doing at the supermarket. He was putting on that stuff. I thought he was going to go stab his mom. I was like, what is he going to do? Like, I did not understand. And when he snuck to the cart and grabbed the thing and left with it, I didn't realize what was going on.
So basically what happens is his mom was cooking, and she only had one can of sauce, and she needed another one. So she sent her husband to go get another can. And while her husband was away, someone broke into the house because they thought no one was home because the car was gone. So they broke into the house, saw the mom, freaked out, accidentally like stabbed her and left.
That's what I missed. Yeah, because I saw the part where the dad came back.
And they thought, and it happened right when the dad came back, and they thought that the dad was the one who murdered him because they had no other clues.
Wow. What a bad time to go to the bathroom, huh? I should have used the Run P app.
Did you not use it?
No, I didn't. I forgot. I forgot the app even existed. And then I was just sitting there because we had some Dark Lord before the movie, and I was feeling pretty good. I just totally forgot. Total blunder.
All right, so he goes into the past, says goodbye to his mom one last time because he's like dressed up in like these weird clothes that he stole from the grocery store, and he takes the can out, and he realizes one of the big things in the movie was when his dad was at the store, he didn't look up at the security camera. So what he did was he moved the cans from the bottom shelf to the top shelf, so his dad would look up. And so this is the part that really irritates me, is like, because they already explained to him that when you change the past, it tilts the it tilts the timeline on the fulcrum. So even if it's a small thing like that, and at the end of the movie, he's like, "There's a new Batman." He's like, "Who the fuck are you?" You shouldn't be surprised.
Yep.
You shouldn't be surprised that things have changed because you changed the past. So that was like one of my bigger gripes about the movie. It's just like, what are you doing?
This could be, and this is where I want to take the conversation next. So now we have the Flash in modern day, or his present timeline, right? Maybe the strands of spaghetti are close enough that it doesn't necessitate another Flash being there, right? So this is the new universe we're in. We know they've cast the new Superman, the new Lois Lane. We've heard nothing about a Batman, right? What if George Clooney is the new Batman going into the George Gunn universe? Do you think that's what they're going to do?
I have to assume that's what they're going to do. I don't think he's going to be Batman, though. I think he's going to be retired. I think whoever played Robin when George Clooney played Batman is going to be the new Batman.
I really think, and I really hope, they've set this up so perfectly, and they don't need to deal with all the bullshit that the old DCEU had. They should continue with the story as it is now. I don't know what they're going to do with Ezra Miller, if they'll keep him on or replace him. I guess they need to figure out what's going on with him. But
I think they just need to do a hard swap, right? Just do a different Flash. Just get a new actor. Everyone's going to know, like, you don't even have to acknowledge it that he's different. Just put in a new actor. Do the same thing that they did with War Machine and Marvel.
Yeah.
Where they replaced Cuban Gooding Jr. with Don Cheadle?
Yes. Yep. That's probably the route that they'll take. But go forward with the story as is. Leave it. Have George Clooney be Batman. It doesn't have to be forever because he's an older guy now. He's not going to be able to do these movies forever. Have him be Batman for now. Have Robin introduced, but maybe bring him back as Nightwing so we can finally see a Nightwing in live action. You know, that would be cool. And then go from there. Have Flash fix something in the future and then get your young Batman. But leave George Clooney for a while. I mean, that guy has suffered. He had to wear the suit with the bat nipples, all right? He needs to be redeemed.
Put it on the back card.
Yeah, the back card. This guy needs help, man. We need to let him shine. He can be a good Batman.
I know that they already cast Clark and Lois.
Yeah.
Can we have Nicolas Cage as Superman?
Oh yeah, dude.
That scene was awesome. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, look up Kevin Smith's Superman.
Yeah.
I think they should go through with that movie because I don't know. I guess that director was right because that was sick.
I saw immediately when I saw the spider, I grabbed Garrett. I'm like, "Oh my god, it's a Nicolas Cage Superman!" And he's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it is." And then you see Nicolas Cage. I'm like, "Oh, that's such a meta reference. That's awesome."
I don't know what the future of DC holds. I'm really excited about it. I really hope that they just have a strong follow through and kind of just use this as your starting point and just go.
Yeah.
Everything else in the past, forget about it. It's already done. It's over. It happened. Doesn't matter anymore. Flashpoint changed the universe. Everything now is a fresh start. Just go.
And this is kind of a better way of handling the multiverse than even Marvel's doing. Because Marvel's pick and choosing, oh, we're going to have a Spider-Man movie and put all the Spider-Man in it. And then we're going to have all these guys and put all them in it. They're all in their own separate movies. Where it felt like we've had this long history of DC movies. And they've been good, bad, whatever. But this paid respect to all of them. and it took their previous attempt of the DCEU, wrapped it up in a little bow, paid homage to all the other movies, and did something good with it, and now it's all unified going forward. It's really beautiful. And James Gunn has everything teed up to him, and I've never been happier as a DC fan. And I've been so down on DC movies for so long. I'm so happy that this movie did this, and I can't wait to see what happens next. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching our Flash review here. I love this movie. Go see it. Let us know what you think in the comment section below. I'm very curious. Let me know what you thought. Until next time, we'll see you later. This video is brought to you by your support on Patreon. Visit patreon.com/GrouchyGus94 to help support the channel.